GG.
That's my friend! And you're found you!
What is up, my people outside there in front of your device right now? I predict you are. What am I even saying? That why are these intros so bad, brother? And what is with my voice? Am I dying? I might be dying, but today we talk about variance. Variance is very important. Understanding variance. We know that 70% win rate is the maximum that we can get about in a solo queue environment on average, you know. Some people can get 80, but it's not because they're better than the 70%, it's just because of variance itself. It means, you know, they got a little bit more lucky on that end. Could be 60%, could be 80%, could be 70%, but the average is about 70% to challenger, you know. That's the win rate. Or not really to challenger, but to your elo, while being above your skill level in games that you are, like, you know, supposed to win. That's a 70% win. And that means there's a 30% variance chance. So you can lose those 30% of games in a short period of time altogether, you know. You can lose 20 in a row. It happens. We have to assume that you play perfectly focused in all of these games. Because if you're not perfectly focused, the 40% that you have control over will bleed into the 30%. And all of a sudden it's 50, it's 60, okay? That is what people don't understand. That is what is so frustrating. I'm going to talk about the 30, 30, 40 a little bit more in depth in a few days, but for right now, I just want to talk about variance in general. What goes into variance and what's the deal. Over a period of like 600 games, 500 games, variance is eliminated. On the other hand, when you play 500 games, there is a decent chance that you have improved while playing these games, going through the variance. But, you know, we can only look at what is at the data. It makes everything in League is not as black and white and as simple, you know. If you play 500 games, sure, the system can now place you correctly, but can it? No, it can't. In reality, during those 500 games, you have either learned things that are good for you or bad for you, that are helping you to climb or that hinder you to climb. And we can't look at it in a vacuum in a way. So I need you to like think about it for a second, you know, just logically think about it for a second. It just makes sense statistically. If we understand variance, it's also less frustrating. You can see my video that I uploaded yesterday. I was incredibly frustrated, but because I was in the 30%ers, you know. I was playing focused, I was playing very consistently, I still lost all of my games. That's just what happens, you know. And you look at my OPGG today, you know, I'm in the 70%ers. And they all came at once. The 30%ers came at once and the 70% came at once. That's just how League works, basically. You know, there it is, 70% almost. It's just how the system places you, you know. My skill level is not far above gold 1. It's, as you can see, if this reaches 50% in 200 games, I can be pretty certain that I'm where I am supposed to be, you know. So maybe I win one more game. I mean, I should win 5 more games, so my 50% win rate elo after 200, 300 games is Platinum 3, about Platinum 3, which matches with every year. So that being said, you know, of course I learned things. Of course I did not play consistently for 200 games. It's not like I played the same character, you know, so all of these things factor in. I learned a new character. I learned Aurora, so learning Aurora means this rank that I have right now is influenced by that. You know, it's a 50% in 104 games. Did I play amazingly? No, I just didn't, you know. Briar, similar thing. Changed role even, terrible. Changed to support, terrible. Changed to AD carry, terrible. Maybe I performed decently, but I cannot capitalize on the 40% during this time. I just can't. Capitalizing on the 40% is only possible if you're above your skill level in a way, right? Think about it. If you can't capitalize on the 40%, what eventually happens is that you will lose and win 20% of the 40%. 50-50 evens out. Your win rate will be 50% at that point, That is the whole point of the system. To see where can I put you that you'll end up at 50% over time. If you have never played more than 20%, like 20 ranked games or whatever per season, then you have never played ranked, okay? Even 100 games, it doesn't matter. If you're iron or if you're diamond for that matter, and you've never played more than like 50 games, ranked games per season, even if through all seasons combined, maybe you have like 500, it doesn't matter. The system doesn't know where to place you, so your MMR is still completely messed up all over the place. Of course, you're not ruining many games because you didn't play many games, but if you actually spammed games and looked at what actually happens, yeah. I mean, spamming games is another thing. For some people, it's better to just play your 3 focused games per day. I completely get that, but in my opinion, if you cannot stick with a routine like I can't, I just have to play more than 3 games to learn. It is what it is. For how long does this variance consist of, It could consist for a long time. That's the thing with the variance, It could have been that a 30% streak would have consisted for a week or 2 or 3, It happens. It would be possible. You cannot look at it from day to day or from hour to hour situation, It's always random. The system tries to put you into a game. Is it okay? You win the game, then the system says, okay, you won this game, let's put him into a little bit of a more difficult situation. You get that. If you win it, let's put him into a more difficult situation. You lose that. Let's put him into an easier situation. You win that. You get put into a more difficult again. You lose that as well. And now the system thinks, okay, maybe he belongs here. So your LP narrows down, narrows out at 25. The system is really not that difficult to understand, but while you play, getting overwhelmed by emotions, that is what makes League so difficult, right? If you could all be rational, perfect human beings, of course, the game would be easy. And that's why for some people it is easy, because the way they grew up, the way they learned about life, for them it's natural and obvious how to handle this. And I think I don't know if this is like sexist or whatever, but I don't care. It's just what I've observed for girls. They're much more emotionally mature and stable compared to men. So I think actually, in a weird way, I think girls do have an advantage. It's just the thing that we don't push girls, to actually apply themselves. I think if you're a woman out there and you're interested in competition in League of Legends, I think you might have an advantage here, and you can push yourself and apply yourself in a skill that's very difficult and outperform everyone. It's not about men and women in a way. So if you go in and you're like, oh, I need to outperform all of these men and all of these other women, it's not like that. That means you're not emotionally mature. But if I look at some challenger female players, like for example, what is her name? She was casting the LPL as well, I think. Kitty? X-Kitty or We Kitty? I don't know. Something cat with cats. I don't know. Anyways, she was a challenger, I think, before, and she seems pretty mature, and I think that's why. It's a weird rant, but the variance gets decreased with emotional maturity. That's all I'm saying, basically. And I think some people have an advantage, of course, because of the way they grew up, the way they understand the world. I do not have that, okay? I mean, I grew up in an extremely weird way, learning not too many things. I have to learn most things myself, but that's why I love League as well, because that's a way to learn it in a way. It teaches it, so because the cool thing about the system is that it works. That's the cool thing. Even if you don't trust in it or you don't understand it, it still works. So you have to kind of overcome yourself in order to go further into it if you're stuck. That's why I think Challenger, for some people, gold, like gold is the average person's Challenger in a way. Oh, I mean, I am in golds, but I like to be in platinum at least, or in emeralds or whatever. I tried to get higher, but what I'm trying to put into perspective is that for some people it's very difficult to get to gold, and for some people it's very difficult to get to challenger. For me, if I set my goal now to get challenger, what would I have to do? How much would I have to grow to make that happen? And I would have to grow a lot, which would decrease the variance a lot, and then I'll be challenger. I don't know how these videos are getting so long lately, but I just like to talk about random stuff, I guess. It is what it is. I hope you don't mind. I hope you're all enjoying it. Today's a lot more calmer vibe than yesterday. I also didn't really sleep that long, so I'm a little bit tired, more tired. But yeah, that's about variance pretty much, 30%, 40%, and how it plays together. There's so many things that go into variance, of course, right? You can't look at it in isolation, but in an overarching idea, it is true. The variance plays a big role in determining your wins and losses, right? Not your rank in a way. Well, it does determine your rank, but in a more holistic way, over a long period of time, over a big amount of game, long, man. Why did I say that? Anyways, I hope you have a good day before this video gets like 50 minutes long. And enjoy.
You walk along the edge of danger, and it will change you. Why would you let this voice set in your head? It is meant to destroy you.